Top of the morning folks, today from the Reddit Rainforest. What things did you do as a teenager that you thought you covered up well, but now as an adult, you realize your parents were not ducking stupid? My teacher told me, when you become a parent, one day, you will be astonished at what young people think you do not notice. This gave me the ducking chills thinking back to when I was 13, 15, and had to jack it all the time. I would go into my bathroom, turn the fan on, turn music on, and act like I was pooing for 20 minutes, while I wanked it to a dirty birthday card my dad had gotten a few years prior. As if that was not obvious enough, when I actually did poop, I did not turn the fan or the music on and it only took me 5 minutes. Goddamn it, not looking forward to talking to my parents next. In back-to-back sentences I asked my dad if he monitored our internet history, and if paying for things online showed up on his credit card statement. When I was about 13 and first discovered naked people, I did not know about internet history, so there were about 10 websites all under names of sexababes.com, sex.com etc. And when my dad asked me what the duck I was doing, I just came up with, oh, it's those stupid internet pop-ups. Every ducking time stupid internet pop-ups saved my ass countless times. Or so you thought. My sister once tried to dramatically reveal to my parents that I had been having sex since I turned 16. My mother responded, I know, I may be old, but I'm not deaf. I remember being in 3rd grade and discovering I could erase math problems from my math book. Yeah mom. The book came like that ... with those massive empty spaces between the problems. God, I was an idiot. Typed in knackeredwomen.com into the family computer search browser when I was like 9. Brother and dad entered room and I exited the page thinking that was it. Dad pulled up history and found it. Told them I meant to type in nuclear weapons since I was into guns and stuff. They said okay and I thought they bought it. Cannot believe I was this ducking stupid. Well, for me, my parents left every weekend from Friday late Sunday to spend time on their property they bought out in the country. Every weekend. From the time I was 13 plus. So, naturally, my house became the party house for me and my friends. My parents would tell me, no one can come over during this time. So, my girlfriend would come over and stay the night. We'd have parties of 20 plus people in my quiet suburban house. Probably had the cops called around like 5-8 times. I knew the main patroller's name, and he knew my name/house. Every Sunday, I would clean, like a madman, the entirety of the house. I would mop, I would vacuum, I would dust, I would take out the trash, I would dump hundreds of bottles of beer/alcohol in a public dumpster about 15 minutes away. I would comb the yard for torn pieces of beer labels, bottle caps, etc. If someone vomited, I'd get out and clean that sucker out. Only twice did I think I was caught. Once, when my dad found a mixer with a preloaded Cosmopolitan under the sink which apparently some drunk girl had hid there. And then again, when I had mistakenly placed the table decoration in a completely wrong way on the table runner. The first, I claimed ignorance and said it must have been the house cleaner who comes every other Friday. And the second I fessed up and said me and the boys had played some poker on the long table while they were gone. No repercussions. Fast forward 4 years in graduating college. Talking with my parents. And I made mention that I used to have some parties while they were gone. Occasionally. To which they laughed. Yeah, we knew you had parties. We got called probably 5+ times by the police. And about 40+ times from the Ducking Jones neighbors. Complaining about your parties. Plus, Balarod a few. Every Sunday we came back the house was cleaner than when we left it. Oy vey. When I was in high school I would smoke weed in my room and do the old towel under the door trick. Of course my parents would call me out on it being there and would make comments, but I was pretty sure I had them tricked with the incense I was burning. Then one day I must have pushed it too far by taking gravity bong rips with my buddy. I hear a stern knocking on the door and an open up chemical burn. We need to talk. My friend and I now are incredibly stoned state are going oh god, and in my genius I stammered out ... I cannot ... We're naked. This is followed by a no. We came downstairs awkwardly 30 minutes later and my dad and I never spoke of that moment again. To sum it up, dad knows I smoke pot in bedroom with friend. I turn the tables and make it more awkward for my dad to talk about it than is worth his while. My family's house was 3 stories. The top floor being one big room that spanned the length of the house. Me and my girlfriend at the time would have mad monkey sex all day every day. It was right after HS, we were both unemployed. We would try to be prepared if someone were to come up as in a blanket to throw over us, etc. One day I was downstairs while she was on the 3rd floor and it sounded like the ducting roof was caving in. I went back upstairs and asked her if she had been jumping around or something, and she said she had just been walking around. I realized then that my parents had definitely heard us ducking every single goddamn time. They never said a word or came upstairs. That reminds me of a good friend who told me that she got rug burn on her back from having intense sex in her room, which was right above her parents. Her parents would not have mentioned anything if the burn were not sticking out from under her midriff top. They used it as an opener to say something like, "Honey, we hope he did not hurt you. It sounded rougher than usual last night." When I was the tender age of 14, a rather aggressive girl took to me and she would sneak over, sometimes without informing me she was coming over. When my parents were away, one day we decided to go up to my tree house where I used to read when I was younger. My dad came home early from work. The one friggin' time in his life he ever did that. So we panic. My tree house was situated right over an alley with a good 12-foot drop over the fence into said alley. So she decides to jump out of the tree into the alley, forgetting her shoes in the process. I had not been in that tree house for years, so I knew my dad would be suspicious if I just strolled out. There under the blanket was an old copy of The Hobbit, so I grabbed it and went in. Instead of just walking to my room, like I should have, I decided to have long engrossing conversation him about the plot of The Hobbit. You know, to convince him that's why I was up there. Only thing is I never read The Hobbit, but I knew my dad had not either, so I came up with the plot for The Hobbit right on the spot. It was no Tolkien, but I think my plot was pretty damn good. Come to find out years later, in passing conversation with my mom, that my dad in fact loved The Hobbit. He had seen the girl jump out of the treehouse and listened to my fake retelling of The Hobbit because he was too badass to care that I had a girl over. To sum it up, came up with a fake plot for The Hobbit to convince my dad I wasn't not with a girl in my treehouse. I had a huge house party when my parents were gone. I moved all the breakables into bedrooms and locked them so nothing was broken/stolen. I took before photos so I'd remember how to arrange everything afterwards. When they returned, my mom was all A few things seem off in here. That is, statues in a cabinet. In the moment I thought I outwitted them. They definitely knew. My brother and I got busted twice. First time, the house is too clean. You would not have cleaned like this unless you had a party. Second, the house was averagely clean. But why is there a muddy footprint on the windowsill in the living room? Stash naked people mags under the bathroom sink. With all of the cleaning supplies. No one will ever find them. I'm honestly shocked how much they did not know. I tell my mother stories now, and she's horrified that she had no idea what I was up to. I was a terrible teenager, or maybe a great teenager depending on how you look at it. Entered breasts, nudity, nudism and various other searches in Microsoft Encarta for a school project. I remember nudism because that's the page that I left on the screen when my mom came into the room. BTW, there's no good titty pics on Encarta. I was brewing prison hooch. I innocently asked my mom, a biologist, how alcohol is made, and she explained in full detail the process of fermentation. I then asked if we had mason jars, then baking yeast. Then I started squeezing gallons of fresh orange juice. Had a friend refill the vodka in with water and put it back in the freezer. Ducking idiot. My sister did this. Drink half a bottle of vodka, then fill it back up with water. My parents were pissed that she ruined the remaining half bottle of good vodka. My sister did this as well. However, my parents did not drink much spirits. So when she turned 18th, she's way older than that now, boys, they gave her the bottle of gin, which was now mostly water, as a present. She was disappointed. I just thought of the most horrifying thing my dad has found. On our family computer around age 13/14, I opened a Word document and typed everything that I would do with a girl sexually, and at the bottom I typed what I would not do. The list of what I would not do had 1. Vaginal sex, 2. Butt licking. The list of what I would do had everything else, including butt sex. As I would later find out, I did not save or close the document. I went into the computer room about 3 hours later to discover my sex masterpiece minimized on the bottom. My dad had been on the computer for at least 1 hour in between. At least they knew I would not get a girl pregnant as a young teenager. Jizzing and / on my socks, then putting them in my dirty clothes basket. Forgetting who washes my clothes. Having 3 boys, I think my mom's probably seen her fair share of cum-covered socks and underpants, and for that reason alone we as a family are more lenient when she talks during the football. My mom made me start doing my own laundry when I was 13, and I just realized why. Sorry, mom. On-demand naked people. Hundreds of dollars worth. This was before the age of digital cable. You would call an 1-800 number to unlock the naked people channel for a block of time for a set price. After a few seconds your cable box would flash a code like 20th51, I forget the letters, but 51 was the unlocked channel. So I would call, fap it, finish. Then I would call the cable company and ask what is 20th51 and why is it on my cable box. They would tell me, oh, you ordered that channel for 6 hours. Or whatever it was. I would then say, no way. I'm the only one here and I'm only 14. They would reblock the channel and take the charge off the bill. I really liked having Cyber 6 and rubbing one out in the process. I thought I was slick. In retrospect I probably was not, since the PC was in our family room. I also had acquired a small collection of vibrators by the time I was 16 or so. I made the mistake of leaving one in the shower once and it mysteriously ended up back on my desk. My parents never said a word. I smoked a lot of pot all throughout high school. I would come home with fire truck red eyes and eat half the food in the kitchen. But my parents never confronted me about it, so I thought I was so slick. About a year ago, I'm 24 now, I figured it'd been long enough to let them in on my little secret. They just laughed and basically said, yeah, we knew, but you kept your grades up, so we let it go. I smoked a lot of pot growing up too. I noticed a pattern where my mom would say I smell like pot and I would react defensively and she would know. Inversely, one day she accused me of smelling like pot, to which I replied calmly, maybe because I just malarkey my pants. That managed to perfectly defuse the situation. My dad grew tired with me spending so much time on the computer, and so he bought a program called Kids Watch or something like that. Its purpose was to make it so I could only access my machine at certain times of the day with a monthly time limit. So I used to just screw with the BIOS when I ran out of time. And he caught on eventually and passworded it. I thought I was pretty sneaky when I popped that MOS battery out of my motherboard to reset the password and continued to mess with the date settings to circumvent the child locks, but he probably knew. That's so much more clever than what I did. Our version was kid-proof. That would put a timer on. We had 2 hours of computer time. At about 1:59 into those 2 hours, I would open everything I could, 12 Word documents, 14 browsers, 3 games, etc. and then would hold down the power button. The computer would not have enough time to save my used time to kid-proof, and when the computer restarted I had my 2 hours back. Thought I was hot malarkey then. Welcome to the end of the video. Do not worry, there are many more. Come aboard for more adventures. Like and subscribe for more posts from the Reddit Rainforest. Thanks for watching.